Chriso friends, wait. Oh my God, I look dead. Lipstick. That's better. Chriso friends, I'm back. I just wanted to, I know that it's a little late in the month to make this kind of monthly update vlog, but I figured that you'd rather have it than me wait until the next month. So a lot of things have happened in the last month or so. I had a stroke. You think about people having a stroke and you think of them as being a lot older than me, but it can happen anytime to anyone, I guess. Let's see. So I went skating with Tornado. It was the 25th of June, something like that. Yeah, the 25th of June, because the 26th of June was supposed to be the giant party for everybody at my work, and I didn't get to go to that. So I was, on the 25th, I was supposed to meet Tornado and their dad for skating, and I was there, and I was skating, and I put on my skates, and I started skating, and I had gone a couple of times around when I saw Tornado and everybody come in, and I had already put my stuff down on the table, and I was like, oh, I'll show you where our stuff is. And I got there, and we had said hi and everything, and I got there, and I sat down, and I started feeling weird. I was like, something's not right. And I had thought, like, weirdly, I thought that I might be having a stroke, but I opened the mirror app, you know, the forward-facing, back-facing, forward-facing, I don't know, mirror on my app, on my phone, and I did that you're supposed to do, and I didn't see anything different, like I didn't see anything odd, but I went to go text partner, and it was gibberish. Like I couldn't, it was so weird because I was trying to tell him that something wasn't right, but nothing would come out. And then Tornado said, Mom, you look weird. Are you okay? And I couldn't say anything. And she started freaking out a little bit. And then my ex, who I am forever grateful to, oh my goodness, he came over and tried to talk to me, and I still couldn't respond. I was like really out of it. And I was like cold and chills, and it was weird. And then he said, if you, this is your last chance. I need you to tell me that you are okay. I need you to say those words or I'm calling an ambulance. And of course I couldn't say those words. So, so he called the ambulance. And at that point, my right side had kind of gone limp, and I had almost fallen over on the bench. And that's when I started getting, I think that half of my face probably was drooping at that point, but I couldn't tell. I just knew that like my hand was like drifting and I couldn't control it. So like I was sitting there with like holding my arm like this because I could control my left hand, but not my right one. And so he called the hospital, he called the ambulance, and he, all I could think of was, I can't afford this, which is generally like, I hate that that's an average thing for Americans to think, you know. Often they're like, I will drive myself to the hospital while stroking because I can't afford the ambulance, but I didn't have any choice. So I was just like, well, they're here now. And of course I can't say any of this because my speech center is like completely gone. And they got me to the hospital and they did like the whole stroke protocol and everything like that. They started me off on an IV and I got administered, I don't remember what the acronym stands for, but it's TNK. And what that is basically kind of a miracle drug when it comes to strokes. If you can, you're only eligible for it if somebody witnessed the stroke happen and it's happened within an hour. And I was lucky enough to have both of those things happen. So I got that, and it basically like, it's a ridiculously strong blood thinner, but one that specifically targets clots. I don't know what the mechanism is, but basically it starts the blood flowing, very strong, and it breaks up the clot. And so they gave that to me, and they gave me an MRI. First of all, they gave me an MRI, and second of all, they gave me that. And in the MRI, I was already trying to say things. I was already trying to like speak. Like I was, like the only thing I could say was I'm sorry, because I had distressed Tornado so much, and all I could say was I'm sorry, and then I love you. That was the other thing too. So, but I think it's pretty indicative of my personality that I was actually trying to get my speech back as soon as getting in the MRI. And then, so I got the TNK. It made the most ridiculously gnarly bruise. Like my whole arm was covered, and I don't know exactly what happened, but like nobody could stick me with an IV after that. I had one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Like finally they had to get somebody to come in with the machine that like it lets you see inside. What is it called? It doesn't matter. I'm getting ahead of myself though. So they gave me the drugs, and then, so my ex had called partner, and he like booked it. I think he made it from Houston in just about 2 hours and 15 minutes. So he was quite quick. And I was trying to wait until he got there to say, like, they wanted to take me into surgery. They wanted to take me into surgery to get the rest of the clot. But I wanted to see him and say, like, I love you, since it's the only thing I could say, before I went into surgery. But we weren't able to. They said that the time was closing, that they had to get it. And finally I was like, okay. Tornado called him so I could say, I love you. And then I went into surgery. And they put a stent. I guess I don't know what it's called. Like it was a probe. They went in through my my groin actually, and went up through the blood channels from the veins. They went in through my groin and they went up the arteries until they got to my brain. And that was the weirdest thing because I wasn't actually unconscious. I was only like, they gave me some stuff that I didn't care what was happening to me. I don't know if they were like twilight drugs or whatever. But they didn't put me all the way under. And I don't know if that's because it would have taken too long or they were worried about how I would come out of it or whatever. I don't know. But I was awake for it, and I remember feeling the incision. Nothing really else until they started getting up into my head. And then it wasn't painful. It was just like this immense pressure and like very uncomfortable, but not like pain. Like you would think like, you know, it's not like pain like cutting something. But it was like they were putting a probe up through blood vessels that are maybe too small for it. And I felt it right here, right in there. So they got most of the clot, not the whole thing, but I think it was already dissolving. I'm not sure. They just said that they were able to get all of it. So they wheeled me out from that, and partner was there by that time. I was in the ICU for a little bit. My ICU nurses were amazing. I had a day nurse and a night nurse, and they were the same people. I think both days that I was in there, and everybody was so kind and so like. They got my sense of humor, you know, like the joking and the kind of, you know, humor that I have to cope. They really, so that was great. And then I had about 110 CT scans trying to figure out why this happened. I had about 110 EKGs to try and figure out why this happened. I had a bubble EKG, which is really weird, where they like put a bubble in your heart, your bloodstream, and then they just like, there's like, you need two nurses, one to read it and one to do the thing. And the other nurse, like, it was so weird. It was like two little, like bottles that she like squeezed back and forth. And then it was supposed to like move the bubble between the chambers of the heart to see if there was any like weird flow issues or something. Long story short, they don't know why it happened. Apparently I have high cholesterol, and that was basically like the only thing that they could find wrong. I have a very small like heart murmur, but it's the kind that, you know, people can have, and it like this doesn't happen. I don't know. So we don't know why this happened, which is vaguely terrifying, because I feel like if it didn't have a reason to happen, then it could happen again at any time. But I have been advised that the recurrence of stroke is very, very low. So let's see. During all of this, I recovered really well. I was, the thing that they do where they have you squeeze, your hands, and it's looking for weakness on one side. I was doing fine. They push down, they're like, lift your feet up, and they push down on one foot and then the other foot, and that was fine. I didn't have any I don't have any facial droop. I can raise my hands up high. I don't have any lingering physical symptoms, really. I had a little bit of weakness in my right hand, but that seems to have worked itself out. It was a little bit of weakness when people, back in the hospital, when people were trying to get me to sign something, because I'm right-handed, the pen kept slipping out of my hands because I just didn't have the grip strength or fine motor control to be able to hold it. But immediately when I came home, I was like, well, it's time for some OT. And I started doing handwork, like exclusively, just so that I would be able to get better with grip strength and fine motor control. And apparently it worked, so that's good. Let's see, the only other like physical thing is that I have a blind spot in my eye now. It's just to the left, no, just to the right side of where I look in my left eye. It's very small, very, very tiny. And the only reason I noticed it, like the hospital was like, do you have any changes in your vision? And I'm like, no, because my brain started compensating for it and I can't even see it. And the only reason that I noticed it was when I got out and I was starting to text people. And I was like, wait a minute. So I'm like sitting there in the car, driving down the road like this. All right, that side's fine. You know, so I have monitored it the whole time since the start. It has not gone anywhere, but it has not gotten any worse. And it's not like a dark spot. It's like when you do the trick to see where your optic nerve enters your eye and you close one eye and, out here just about there's like a blind spot where it's just dead pixels. Like there's nothing there. That's what this is like. So I don't have any, like I literally can't see it. My brain is so good at compensating for it that to see it right now, like I have to close my eye and then read something small because it's just to the right. It's like as I read, I lose the next couple letters, not the ones I'm looking at, but like the ones next to it. And that's the only way I can see it. Or like looking into a light, I can sometimes see it. But that's the only physical thing. Mentally, it's another story. I presented with global aphasia, so I was not able to speak almost at all. And it, again, very rapidly, I got a very rapid turnaround. A recovery, that's the word. And I was starting to be able to speak, but they come in and they do these, they come in and they ask you these questions. What's your name? What's your date of birth? Do you know what day it is? And if nobody asks me what day it is ever again, it will never. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it because in the ICU, they ask you every hour. When I moved to a regular hospital room, they came in every 4 hours and it was a little bit better. But yeah, so long, so many times. And I couldn't even, at first I couldn't even say my name. But by the end of the first day, I was saying my name and talking a little bit. But I had a lot of stops and a lot of looking for words and not being able to find them and getting frustrated and, not being able to find them even more because I was frustrated. So that was difficult, but I wasn't able to stay up for very long because obviously my brain's, trying to heal itself and my body is exhausted because somebody keeps waking me up every hour to ask me what my fucking name was. But I would go to sleep for like an hour and then I would wake up and I could tell the difference between where I was before the nap and where I was after the nap. And by the time I left the hospital, I was able to answer pretty much all the questions. What my name was, what my birth date was, what today was, although that was kind of weird because I knew it was like the 25th and I had lost all sense of time completely. I didn't know if I'd been in there for like 5 days or not. I didn't know if it was, July already. And it didn't help that they were like, okay, well, what month is it? And I'm like, I still don't know. I mean, it's either June or July. It's one of those two. But the other thing that I could say, the other thing that I could do is that I knew the words. I knew what the answer was, even if I couldn't say it. So they'd be like, well, is it August? No. Is it December? No. Is it June? Yes. So I could say no and yes to what was the correct answer. So, yeah. And then, so I was able to get up the first or second day and they had me walk around, the floor. This was still in ICU. They had me walk around the floor a little bit and they said, can you walk upstairs? Because I was like, yeah, my apartment's on the second floor. Like, I don't know if I can do that. And so they had like this like step stool and he had me step up on it and step down and step up and step down. And then with other foot, step up, step down, step up, step. And he was like, yeah, you're okay. You're fine. I'm signing off on you. You're able to be like under your own recognizance. And I was like, okay, cool. So after that, it was, I was moved to the not ICU, non-ICU, non-emergent care. I don't even know. And I had a few different nurses because they switch much more often, and their nurse to patient ratio is much bigger. So I didn't see them as much. I saw the techs more because the techs would come in and take my blood pressure and everything like that. So I got to see them more. I had a shower for the first time. I had been planning to go home and take a shower because I'd been setting up for my my staff celebration all day, and I was gross, and then I was like, oh well, I'll go skating and then I'll go home and shower. So I was like revolting. So I took a shower and it was grand. I didn't really have a lot of awareness about what was going on. I couldn't process a lot of things, and I had trouble concentrating, and I had trouble kind of keeping things in my head for very long. So I was really lucky that partner and my cousin, who is totally crazy and drove down here from Buffalo to see me. I was glad that she came out too, but I had both of them kind of also listening because I couldn't, like if they had said this stuff and I was alone, I'd be like, well, I don't know what's going on. But they were able to kind of take charge a little bit. And finally, we got out of the hospital. And then we had a little bit of time between things, but we found we were given the option between outpatient therapy or it's not an inpatient, but it's like a full day therapy. So I'm still going to a day neuro care, basically people who have head trauma or, you know, got in car wrecks or had strokes or other things, brain damage. This is an intensive therapy designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't think much about the fact that I couldn't say things, that I couldn't, you know, whatever, but I was incredibly frustrated because of it, and I couldn't even, like, bear the thought that I might not get better. It was like a foregone conclusion. I was like, well, we're gonna get better or else. And I was also like having a super great recovery trajectory outside of it. So I was like, this seems to be the kind of program that allows you to continue that trajectory. So I go to physical therapy, I go to occupational therapy, and I go to speech therapy. So it's like a whole holistic rehab. And they do a lot of things. Nothing is siloed, like speech and physical stuff, like they work together, because I couldn't, when I first came out of the hospital, I couldn't do anything other than what I was doing. I could do one thing. If I was trying to like text somebody and partner had TikToks on, I couldn't do it because the TikToks like were just so much to process. And luckily that did get better. I'm getting a lot better at that, but the physical and the speech therapy work hand in hand with a lot of cognitive and physical tasks simultaneously. So I'm doing stuff like walking while bouncing a ball and saying cities in alphabetical order. Like, it seems silly, but it's fucking hard. But I have the therapists do a really good job of pushing you to your hardest, like to the hardest that you can go. And as tiresome as it is, I came home and took a nap every day after the first week. I couldn't do anything. Now it's a little bit better. I'm sleeping at night, which is good, but I don't have to take a nap in the middle of the day, which is also good. So my stamina is just up. My endurance is up. I am trying really hard to get better. Let's see. Obviously, I haven't been working. I've been doing this for the last month, like just this. And it is the hardest thing that I have ever done. But anybody who's ever met me will tell you that I am very stubborn. I'm a very stubborn person. And I think part of the reason that this is the hardest thing I've ever done is because I am working myself to failure all the time, you know, because that's the way you get better. Like, I don't know. Let's see, what else is going on? So anyway, I've gotten a lot better at with my anomia, which is a word finding, like a word. Anomia is like a word retrieval kind of thing, where it's not that you can't say the thing, it's that you know what the thing is, but you can't think of it. So my anomia has gotten much better. I'm going to be leaving a lot of the gaps in this video to kind of show you how difficult it still is. And this is me being, this is great. Like, this is so much better than what it was. But there's still room for improvement. But it's gotten much better. I am a lot smoother at speaking. I am a lot better at the word finding. And if I can't find something, if I think about it, I can usually find it or find a way to talk around it and, maybe not say the right word, but will make the person understand me. So that's good. I am getting a lot better at cognitive tasks. I can text, I can be on the internet. It takes me a little bit longer to text, just a little bit longer to text, but I'm still, I'm sounding pretty normal in conversation, which is good. I am starting to be okay. Partner is actually not here. He had to go back. He had sinus surgery a couple of weeks ago, and he needed to go back for his follow-up. And I was like, hey, I think this is a really good time for me to try out being at home alone. Because I've been, he's gone to the grocery store without me, and but I've never been alone overnight since the stroke. And I don't want to be scared of it. I don't want to be scared to do it. So I feel like the earlier I do it, the less likely it is that I will get scared of it or make it into a bigger deal than it really should be. So partner went home yesterday, and I am footloose and fancy free. I'm not driving. Obviously, I'm not driving. I did drive just a little bit. I took the car to get the mail, which is it's at the beginning of our complex, so I don't have to drive on streets or anything. But I drove out there, got the mail, and then I drove the long way home around the complex. So it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't huge, but I wanted to see if that muscle memory would be gone. If I would have to think about really, think about which pedal to push and, when to look. And, there's a lot of stuff that happens when you're driving. And because I struggled so much with multitasking, I wanted to make sure that I didn't have that same problem with driving, but it felt really natural. It felt great. When partner comes back, I'm probably gonna make him drive my car and take me to a less traveled kind of neighborhood, not main streets and stuff like that, just side streets. And we may try doing a little bit of driving with that. I'm probably going to take a driving assessment test, which will be about 3 hours. But I would rather find out that I have a problem. If there is a problem, I would rather find that out in a test with somebody who knows what they're doing than finding it out driving alone on 35 going 70 miles an hour. So, but I think having a little bit of practice would be good for me because I know myself, and if I had waited until the test to be in a car behind the wheel, I would have gotten in my own head and freak myself out. So yes, but yeah, that's kind of where I am now. We're starting to think about what needs to happen with getting back to work. I am emailing with my HR person, and there's also, like, there's a neuropsychologist as well on the team that can give medical recommendations for accommodations. So I don't know what those look like yet. I just took the test like Thursday, but, or I just took the assessment Thursday. It's not really a test. It's like just seeing where you are with stuff. And I hope to get some accommodations, because I know that my capacity is much lower right now, and I am going to need some accommodations and some leeway with it. And I really hope that they're willing to give me those. Otherwise, I might be finding another job. There it is. The ideal is going back to work 2 or 3 days a week, and then doing the outpatient recovery on the days that I don't work, so that if I run into something, if I run into a problem with something, that I can then take that to the therapy team and be like, hey, I'm having a problem with this. What can we do? What do you have? What exercises do you have that can help with that? But yeah, there I am. It's been a rough road. It's not been a rough road. I mean, I'm 5 weeks out from a stroke, and I'm fine physically, and I've recovered a lot of my mental faculties, and I've recovered a lot of my language. But even though I know I have been lucky, still, it's been a really rough time. As I've gotten, my focus has gotten so small that I have narrowed my focus to getting better. Like I haven't even really hung out with my friends so much. I've hung out with partner because he's here, and we've gone to a couple of restaurants, but I haven't been social. I haven't had the brain to be social, and I haven't had the energy to be social. And that has been hard? ? I do that thing where it's like out of sight, out of mind. I mean, like, I know I miss my friends, like whatever, but I don't miss them, which is really awful to say. I just don't have the energy to put into, you know, giving a friendship the proper attention that it needs and that my friends deserve. And everybody has been really great about being understanding and stuff. And I still text, like I have the capacity to text people, but not hang out with them. That said, I should probably do something or other for my Barony to show that I'm like, okay. Maybe we'll go out to fighter practice or something, and I can be like, proof of life, I'm here. But yeah, I'm working on getting back to making videos. Obviously, this is one. This is kind of my test case. These videos take less time to do. They take a lot of the time is actually me just figuring out what to cut out. Because I ramble a lot, I talk a lot. But they're relatively easy to edit and to get uploaded. So this is my test case, and then I'm gonna, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm gonna put it into my computer and try and edit something, because this will be the first time that I have tried to edit something since the stroke, and I don't know exactly how it's gonna go. We'll see. It'll be like a surprise. But I don't anticipate it being difficult. I might be a little out of practice. But the other thing is, I don't know exactly how much capacity I will have to make like longer type videos, you know? Because they take a lot of time and they take a lot of effort. I am considering pivoting to doing something a little less polished, maybe, and a couple of projects that are maybe more simple, just to get back into the swing of things. I don't know. On the one hand, I want to give you guys the content that you have come to expect from me, and the quality that you have come to expect from me. And on the other hand, I just don't know if I have the capacity to deliver that. And so my question is it better to offer something with a little less polish quicker, or something that is to my standards, but it will take longer? I don't know that there's a right answer. I know that YouTube probably is like, well, actually, you haven't uploaded in like 2 months, so we're tanking your views. We're not going to push it out to anybody. But I don't know. We'll see. It is a question in my head, but it is not a distressing question in my head, because I know that whichever thing I decide, y'all will support me, and I appreciate that like more than I can say. And to all of my patrons that have pledged to continue paying, even though I am not making videos and I'm barely making anything, I appreciate you so much, more than I can say. So I will ponder the question in a not distressing way. But I think that's just about everything, sort of the Cliff Notes version. And I do think that I'm going to make this video public. It would usually be reserved for my $10 a month tier, my linen tier and above. But I feel like this is a little bit different. This one is a little, I feel like everybody deserves to hear the things that I've been doing and the way that I've been feeling and how I am doing, really how I am. And I think I'm going to make that available to everybody. So sorry, Linen Tear. Next month you get a dedicated video. But anyway, I love you all, and I'm really happy to still be here. Okay, this is awkward.